In this video, you're going to learn how to make the camera to follow the player. And I'll tell you some different techniques for that. To make the camera to follow the player, we have different ways to do that. For example, just making the camera a child of the player, and also tweaking the transform of the camera, and also using the Cinemachine. So the first approach is that, okay, this is a player, and this is the code responsible for moving the player. Okay, and this is your main camera. All right, move the main camera under the player, so camera is a child of the player. So you have something like this. Okay, simple, right? So that was one of the ways. The second approach is that, okay, just return it whenever it was. I think it was here. And write a code for that. Go to script and for the camera, I don't want to make a folder. Just say camera movement. So what do you want to do? We change the camera position according to the player position, and when whatever the player has, the camera will have. And to make it a little bit delay between the player movement and then the camera move, we put the code in the late update. So let's open that. You have void, let me say, late update. Just press tab and it will appear. And delete this. Serialized field, private, transform. We want the transform of the player. So we drag and drop the player here, and it will have its transform. For smooth movements, we use lerp. When you want to use lerp, actually you give the current movement points. For example, this is the camera that it has its current position, and then it will give it a target position, which is a player position. Okay, and the lerp, we say, okay, move from the position of the camera, which is the current position, move towards the player with a very smooth speed. So you have to give the speed as well. Say private float speed, for example, 5F. All right. And we can give the offset. For example, the camera be following be here, so the player is, for example, here. Or for example, to twisting the Y position, it's good that we use the offset. And we also use serialized field, private, vector 3, offset, and we would correct that in the inspector for X, Y, and Z, what we should have. Then here, first we say, okay, what is the, for example, the target? The target is the player, but I also want to add the offset to that. So not only camera should follow the player, but it also should consider its offset. So I say vector 3, target place or position, which is the player, which is a transform, that position plus offset. Okay, so that is our target. Let me say just this. So the camera should follow this. So now I say, okay, camera, move target that position It should be to use lerp. We say vector3 does lerp. First, we need the current position. That is the transfer dot position, which is for the camera, and the target, which is the player and its offset. By which speed? By the speed of here 5, which is which we gave its value here. Okay. So let me explain it again. We have the player. We want that to chase the player with some offsets. Okay, we say, okay, the target is player and also this offset. Then, okay, we say camera, just move and change your position to where? To from your place to the target. And use lerp to make it very smooth with this speed. So now let's go to inspector, and you should give the code to the main camera. Don't forget that, and go there. Give your player here. You have the speed, and remember, all in the 2D game, the camera for default is -10. So give it to that, so it wouldn't give some strange behavior. So that's it. Now let's try it. It's let me deactivate it. It was in the canvas, the bottom damage. Okay, let me deactivate it. Okay. So now go to the main camera, the code. For example, you see that I give this offset so it comes here. For the X, for example, you want that your player be a little bit towards the left. And let's go and move there. As you are using transform dot position, don't forget to add time dot delta time. Otherwise, on different devices, it just have different behavior and different speed. You see? And okay, let me get out of the game and make this deactivated. And let's go here. It doesn't show anything right now. I have to play the game. Go to game and change these values and then remember them. So after you come out of the game, you give the exact number. For example, just copy. Okay. And I have to pass through that thing. Yes. You see there is some damping thing, as I kind of stop, you have a feeling of, the camera just moving a little bit further, which is kind of cool. So that was one of the other ways of, making the camera to follow the player. And don't forget to return those values with this. And also you can change that too. Now, there's another option that is the Cinemachine, which I think it is better that you use the Cinemachine because it gives you other great opportunities. For example, you don't need coding and it has great features. So remove the code and you can even delete that. We go to, for installing this, to use the Cinemachine, we have to go and install the package. So go to Package Manager, go to Registry, and search for Cinema. Just do that and then it will come, Cinemachine. And install it. To use that, go to Game Object, Cinemachine 2D Camera, which will make you a Cinemachine virtual camera. Okay, now that you have it, okay, you say which one to follow. and I say follow the player, right? But why suddenly the camera is very, very bigger? And it has been so small, and the camera is now very bigger. That's because when we use this one, it affects on the main menu, orthographic size. Okay. Before I install and bring the Cinemachine here, because when I put it here, it goes here and add it here. And it also changes this thing to 10. Before I bring this into the hierarchy, it was 5, okay? But now, as I brought this here, it suddenly changed to 10. So you should go to your visual and your, yes, virtual camera and set the ortho size to 5. Then it will return to its normal, the thing that it was before. Yes, the offset has been changed, but the size is the same. Yes, you can just do that, and everything is fixed. And now you might wonder that, okay, I use a follow the player, but should I also add for 2D? You don't need to do that, because the follow adjusts the position of the camera and look at changes the rotation of the camera, so that the camera always look at the player and rotates in relation to the player. So for the 3D you use that, but for the 2D you don't really actually need to, for example, put the player here. So that's it. And now if I play that, it's like the camera size is now correct. Okay. And now let's go and play with different features. If you go to the body, for example, you see this damping. Let me do not change it here, and let me go in a play mode. Right now, as I move, do you see that when I'm moving, it takes some time that the camera also moves. So that is called the damping. And it's good that you put it here. So it is just a small damping. When I stop, the camera also stops uh, after a very short time. Screen X is that, for example, if you want that, put your player in the more left side of the camera, you can make it towards that, okay? So the player is always in this side. Let me let me make this dummy deactivated. So, okay, now let's go. So, where were we? Okay. So if you want that I place my character always on the left side of the camera, so I do that. Should I put it here? And or for the Y, if you want your player to start, you always have this height. You set the height to this. Or if you want your player always be on top of this, you just set that to that. But I think that um, this amount 0.7 is usually good for the game. And a little bit left. I think 0.4 is good. But if I stop the game, they will be changed. But they will be reset to their original values. So after I stop the game, I have to manually um, correct them. So try to memorize them. And what is a dead zone? You see, if I move, even a slight move, the camera also moves. So you can make some dead zone. Do you see that this has changed? It means that, let me bring in an exaggerated value. If I move in that zone, the camera doesn't follow me. But if I go out of it, the camera follows me. So maybe you like to use this feature. Also for the height, you can use that. For example, if I move, jump like this, it wouldn't have, um, it wouldn't move the camera. But if I double jump, I kind of get out of that, then the camera would follow that. But why am I changing that? I mean, this one. Okay. Go to noise and select this. What kind of noise you want? For example, you say 60 shake, and it kind of shakes. Okay, and you can change the values. It's good, for example, there's an earthquake inside your game, or when you want, actually it gives headaches, so I stop that. When you want, for example, you hit an enemy and it gives you a shaking effect. You can play with that value. So as you see, you don't need any code for making the camera to follow your player, and you have lots of options here. So do this, and I'll see you in the next video.